Welcome to this new podcast series titled Talking Book Publishing with Steve and Tara. Hello, I'm Tara Brabazon.
And I'm Steve Retter.
And welcome to Talking Book Publishing with Steve and Tara, Volume 8. And this is the By Request series of podcasts, and we're up to podcast 8. The person who requested this particular podcast is the legendary Baroness Christina. We adore you, Baroness, and again, a great and distinctively quirky question from you. And she's asked particularly, if you're going for a special issue on a particular topic, how much do you have to skew your interests into that topic? And I think probably the Baroness has come from that question, Steve, after hearing our podcast about those handbooks that you were talking about in our first set of ideas. So I think this is a great question, and there's no easy answer to this either. So how much do you have to bend your ideas to fit into a special topic or an edited collection, do you think?
I think this is a really difficult balance between your own special interests, particularly if you get into a part of your career where you see yourself as an expert. It may be in a mini topic, but you want to pursue that both for your own career prospects, but also for your own interests. That becomes really difficult if you get called on to do something because of your expertise in a more general topic. Special issue on X, which your special expertise fits into. I think it's very often a matter of working with the editors of these projects, and it very often is editors in these kinds of things, whether they're special issues or whatever, and maybe corresponding with the people that you're working with in the first place and saying, this is I know what the criteria for this particular project is, you've given me that, but also what I feel that I can put into this particular project my expertise, and I really want to stick with my expertise. So actually keeping a dialogue going, I've found that quite interesting, where I've been asked to be in projects which probably were at the edge of my expertise, but I still wanted to be involved. And sometimes I have felt that I was bending the work that I wanted to do to their will, in fact, the project's will. And sometimes I've kind of gone along with it, but more often than not, I have corresponded and said, look, I want to do it this way, or just sent in the thing I wanted to do, being staunch about it.
Yeah, and I think that's great advice, Baroness. Also, I think intros and outros matter. Yeah. So focus on the first couple of paragraphs and make sure that's nicely framed so you actually explain how your distinctive expertise fits into it. So make the case, put the problem into the work, so people go, God, how does this link in with the project? You give them 2 paragraphs explaining that in your intro, and then the outro, again, feeding back into and out of the project. But also, I think, Steve, you've picked up something that was going to be a big priority for me in this podcast, and that is also showing leadership, because the trouble with some of these special issues, and again, sorry to sort of do the feminist thing on this, I'd really like to apologise, but where I've had bad vibes on this is where a couple of blokes are doing a special issue and it's all about them. Let's talk about something important, let's talk about me. So these 2 guys have supposedly invented this pseudo meta micro discipline, and they haven't quite got enough stuff to make it up into a book or a single issue. Does that make sense? So they actually need to feed off certain people, and so you often get the invite to be a part of it. And I've actually had a circumstance, I think, when there was a project on Web 2, the Read Write Web, and I put podcasting. I did a really outstanding, in the early days of podcasting too, it was one of the first really big research articles on podcasting, and I put that into this book, and the editors in the introduction stated, I don't really know what this chapter is about, and I can't see how this links in with Web 2. So Baroness, that's why I really picked up on this question. And so part of it is about leadership. It's about saying, you know what, girlfriend, you is wrong. You is wrong. And so having, as Steve said, wanting to get into the collection and skewing it, but my final word that I wrote on my card in preparation for this was always maintaining your integrity. So in other words, bend as much as you feel comfortable bending. But then if it becomes a point where you're in a yoga class and you've bent and your leg's behind your head and you've lost your integrity, walk away, Renee. I think that's important because there's plenty of journals out there, plenty of other books that you can use. You've got a bunch of people like Steve and I around you who can offer advice and link you up with new people. So really don't force it. Bend it until you're comfortable. When it starts to get a bit uncomfortable, do stop. What do you think, Steve?
I think so, but if you've got stuff on your hard drive, other people will always come along and ask you as well. Think of it that way. If you lose this one, there's always an opportunity down the line.
Yes, I think that's great advice. And again, I think that was a really powerful question from Christina and an unusual one, and I hope we've helped. But great one. So good on you, Christina.
Well done.
Thank you for listening to this podcast series on Talking Book Publishing with Steve and Tara. For further information, please feel free to contact us at Charles Sturt University.